Hello, my kiddos. Last time, Aragorn and Legolas and Gimli met some of the men of the Rittermark, also known as the Rohirrim, men of Rohan, and their commander, whose name is Eomer. And they told Aragorn and the others that they killed a band of orcs and burned their corpses, but they didn't find Merry or Pippin. So we still don't know where they are. Okay, let's keep going. Muttering, Eothane retired and spoke to the others. Soon they drew off and left Eomer alone with the three companions. All that you say is strange, Aragorn, he said, yet you speak the truth, that is plain. The men of the Mark do not lie, and therefore they are not easily deceived. But you have not told all. Will you not now speak more fully of your errand, so that I may judge what to do? I set out from Imladris, as it is named in the rhyme, many weeks ago, answered Aragorn. With me went Boromir of Minas Tirith. My errand was to go to that city with the son of Denethor, to aid his folk in their war against Sauron, but the company that I journeyed with had other business. Of that I cannot speak now. Gandalf the Grey was our leader. Gandalf! Eomer exclaimed. Gandalf Greyhain is known in the Mark, but his name, I warn you, is no longer a password to the king's favor. He has been a guest in the land many times in the memory of men, coming as he will, after a season or after many years. He is ever the herald of strange events, a bringer of evil, some now say. Indeed, since his last coming in the summer all things have gone amiss, and at that time our trouble with Saruman began. Until then we counted Saruman as our friend, but Gandalf came then and warned us that sudden war was preparing in Isengard. He said that he himself had been a prisoner in Orthanc and had hardly escaped, and he begged for help, but Theoden would not listen to him, and he went away. Speak not the name of Gandalf loudly in Theoden's ears. He is wroth, for Gandalf took the horse that is called Shadowfax, the most precious of all the king's steeds, chief of the Maerys, which only the Lord of the Mark may ride. For the sire of their race was the great horse of Eorl, that knew the speech of men. 7 nights ago Shadowfax returned, but the king's anger is not less, for now the horse is wild, and will let no man handle him. So apparently they had talking horses at one point. Maybe from Narnia? I'm just kidding. All right. Then Shadowfax has found his way alone from the far north, said Aragorn, for it was there that he and Gandalf parted. But alas, Gandalf will ride no longer. He fell into darkness in the mines of Moria and comes not again. That is heavy tidings, said Eomer, at least to me and to many, though not to all, as you may find if you come to the king. It is tidings more grievous than any in this land can understand, though it may touch them sorely ere the year is much older, said Aragorn. But when the great fall, the less must lead. My part, it has been to guide our company on the long road from Moria. Through Lorien we came, of which it were well that you should learn the truth ere you speak of it again. And thence down the leagues of the great river to the falls of Rauros. There Boromir was slain by the same orcs which you destroyed. Your news is all of woe, cried Eomer in dismay. Great harm is this death to Minas Tirith and to us all. That was a worthy man. All spoke his praise. He came seldom to the Mark, for he was ever in the wars on the east borders. But I have seen him. More like to the swift sons of Eorl than to the grave men of Gondor he seemed to me, and likely to prove a great captain of his people when his time came. But we have had no word of this grief out of Gondor. When did he fall? I want you kiddos to notice that that Boromir was known as a good man to everyone, and yet he was corrupted by his desire for the ring. "It is now the 4th day since he was slain," answered Aragorn, "and since the evening of that day we have journeyed from the shadow of Tol Brandir." "On foot?" cried Eomer. "Yes, even as you see us." Wide wonder came into Eomer's eyes. "Strider is too poor a name, son of Arathorn," he said. "Wingfoot I name you. This deed of the 3 friends should be sung in many a hall. 40 leagues and 5 you have measured ere the 4th day is ended. Hardy is the race of Elendil. But now, Lord, what would you have me do? I must return in haste to Theoden. I spoke warily before my men. It is true that we are not yet at open war with the Black Land, as there are some, close to the king's ear, that speak craven counsels. But war is coming. We shall not forsake our old alliance with Gondor, and while they fight we shall aid them. So say I and all who hold with me. The Eastmark is my charge, and the ward of the 3rd Marshal, and I have removed all our herds and herdfolk, withdrawing them beyond Entwash, and leaving none here but guards and swift scouts." "Then you do not pay tribute to Sauron?" said Gimli. "We do not, and we never have," said Eomer with a flash of his eyes, "though it comes to my ears that lie has been told. Some years ago the Lord of the Black Land wished to purchase horses of us at a great price, but we refused him, for he puts beasts to evil use. Then he sent plundering orcs, and they carry off what they can, choosing always the black horses. Few of these are now left. For that reason our feud with the orcs is bitter. But at this time our chief concern is with Saruman. He has claimed lordship over all this land, and there has been war between us for many months. He has taken orcs into his service, and wolf riders, and evil men, and he has chosen the gap against us, so that we are likely to be beset both east and west. Oh, and he has closed the gap against us, so that we are likely to be beset both east and west. It is ill dealing with such a foe. He is a wizard, both cunning and dwemer crafty, having many guises. He walks here and there, they say, as an old man hooded and cloaked, very like to Gandalf, as many now recall. His spies slip through every net, and his birds of ill omen are abroad in the sky. I do not know how it will end, and my heart misgives me, for it seems to me that his friends do not all dwell in Isengard. But if you come to the king's house, you shall see for yourself. Will you not come? Do I hope in vain that you have been sent to me for a help in doubt and need?" "I will come when I may," said Aragorn. "Come now," said Eomer. "The heir of Elendil would be a strength indeed to the sons of Eorl in this vile tide. There is battle even now upon Westemnet, and I fear that it may go ill for us. Indeed, in this riding north I went without the king's leave, for in my absence his house is left with little guard, but scouts warned me of the orc host coming down out of the east wall 4 nights ago, and among them they reported that some bore the white badges of Saruman. So suspecting what I most fear, a league between Orthanc and the Dark Tower, I led forth my Eored, men of my own household, and we overtook the orcs at nightfall 2 days ago, near to the borders of the Entwood. There we surrounded them, and gave battle yesterday at dawn. 15 of my men I lost, and 12 horses, alas, for the orcs were greater in number than we counted on. Others joined them, coming out of the east across the great river. Their trail is plain to see a little north of this spot, and others too came out of the forest, great orcs, who also bore the white hand of Isengard. This kind is stronger and more fell than all others. Nonetheless, we put an end to them. But we have been too long away. We are needed south and west. Will you not come? There are spare horses, as you see. There is work for the sword to do. Yes, and we could find the use for Gimli's axe and the bow of Legolas, if they will pardon my rash words concerning the Lady of the Wood. I spoke only as do all men in my land, and I would gladly learn better." I thank you for your fair words, said Aragorn, and my heart desires to come with you, but I cannot desert my friends while hope remains. Hope does not remain, said Eomer. You will not find your friends on the north borders. Yet my friends are not behind. We found a clear token not far from the east wall that one at least of them was still alive there. But between the wall and the downs, we have found no other trace of them, and no trail has turned aside, this way or that, unless my skill has wholly left me. Then what do you think has become of them? I do not know. They may have been slain and burned among the orcs, but that you will say cannot be, and I do not fear it. I can only think that they were carried off into the forest before the battle, even before you encircled your foes, maybe. Can you swear that none escaped your net in such a way? I would swear that no orc escaped after we sighted them, said Eomer. We reached the forest eaves before them, and if after that any living thing broke through our ring, then it was no orc, and had some elvish power. Our friends were attired even as we are, said Aragorn, and you passed us by under the full light of day. I had forgotten that, said Eomer. It is hard to be sure of anything among so many marvels. The world has all grown strange. Elf and dwarf in company walk in our daily fields, and folk speak with the Lady of the Wood, and yet live, and the sword comes back to war that was broken in the long ages ere the fathers of our fathers rode into the mark. How shall a man judge what to do in such times? As he ever has judged, said Aragorn. Good and ill have not changed since yesteryear, nor are they one thing among elves and dwarves and another among men. It is a man's part to discern them as much in the golden wood as in his own house. True indeed, said Eomer, but I do not doubt you, nor the deed which my heart would do. Yet I am not free to do all as I would. It is against our law to let strangers wander at will in our land, until the king himself shall give them leave, and more strict is the command in these days of peril. I have begged you to come back willingly with me, and you will not. Loth am I to begin a battle of 100 against 3. I do not think your law was made for such a chance, said Aragorn. Nor indeed am I a stranger, for I have been in this land before, more than once, and ridden with the host of Rohirrim, though under other name and in other guise. You and I have not seen before, for you are young, but I have spoken with Eomund, your father, and with Theoden, the son of Thengel. Never in former days would any high lord of this land have constrained a man to abandon such a quest as mine. My duty at least is clear, to go on. Come now, son of Eomund. The choice must be made at last. Aid us, or at the worst, let us go free, or seek to carry out your law. If you do so, there will be fewer to return to your war or to your king. Eomer was silent for a moment. Then he spoke. We both have need of haste, he said. My company chafes to be away, and every hour lessens your hope. This is my choice. You may go, and what is more, I will lend you horses. This only I ask. When your quest is achieved or is proved vain, return with the horses over the Entwade to Meduseld, the high house of Edoras, where Theoden now sits. Thus you shall prove to him that I am not misjudged. That I have not misjudged. In this I place myself, and maybe my very life, in the keeping of your good faith. Do not fail. I will not, said Aragorn. There was great wonder and many dark and doubtful glances among his men when Eomer gave orders that the spare horses were to be lent to the strangers, but only Eothane dared to speak openly. It may be well enough for this lord of the race of Gondor, as he claims, he said, but who has heard of a horse of the mark being given to a dwarf? No one, said Gimli, and do not trouble, no one will ever hear of it. I would sooner walk than sit on the back of any beast so great, free or begrudged. But you must ride now, or you will hinder us, said Aragorn. Come, you shall sit behind me, friend Gimli, said Legolas. Then all will be well, and you need neither borrow a horse nor be troubled by one. A great dark grey horse was brought to Aragorn, and he mounted it. Hasufel is his name, said Eomer. May he bear you well, and to better fortune than Garulf, his late master. A smaller and lighter horse, but restive and fiery, was brought to Legolas. Arod was his name, but Legolas asked them to take off saddle and rein. I need them not, he said, and leaped lightly up, and to their wonder, Arod was tame and willing beneath him, moving here and there with but a spoken word. Such was the elvish way with all good beasts. Gimli was lifted up behind his friend, and he clung to him, not much more at ease than Sam Gamgee in a boat. Farewell, and may you find what you seek, cried Eomer. Return with what speed you may, and let our swords hereafter shine together. I will come, said Aragorn. And I will come too, said Gimli. The matter of the Lady Galadriel still lies between us. I have yet to teach you gentle speech. We shall see, said Eomer. So many strange things have chanced that to learn the praise of a fair lady under the loving strokes of a dwarf's axe will seem no greater wonder. Farewell. With that they parted. Very swift were the horses of Rohan. When after a little Gimli looked back, the company of Eomer were already small and far away. Aragorn did not look back. He was watching the trails as they sped on their way, bending low, with his head beside the neck of Hasufel. Before long they came to the borders of the Entwash, and there they met the other trail, of which Eomer had spoken, coming down from the east out of the wold. Aragorn dismounted and surveyed the ground. Then leaping back into the saddle, he rode away for some distance eastward, keeping to one side and taking care not to override the footprints. Then he again dismounted and examined the ground, going backwards and forwards on foot. There's little to discover, he said when he returned. The main trail is all confused with the passage of the horsemen as they came back. Their outward course must have lain nearer the river, but this eastward trail is fresh and clear. There is no sign there of any feet going the other way, back towards Anduin. Now we must ride slower, and make sure that no trace or footstep branches off on either side. The orcs must have been aware from this point that they were pursued. They may have made some attempt to get their captives away before they were overtaken. All right, we're going to stop there, kiddos. Love you always and forever, no matter what.